Three reasons design patterns are still important in 2023. First time when I learned design patterns, I was amazed. I started my career writing procedure-based programming, then I moved to object-oriented programming. I found this transition very, very hard. When it came to simple classes, I was able to write the code. When it came to the complex scenario where you have to make multiple objects to work together, I have no idea. I ended up writing those code in the presentation layer. My business layers were weak, very primitive, very less reusable. Then I came across this book, Design Pattern. This book has been published in 1995. So these four authors, known as Gang of Four, came together. So these four authors came together and they prepared a catalog of 23 design patterns. They took inspiration from Christopher Alexander. Christopher Alexander in 1973 came with an idea about design patterns. So what are design patterns? Christopher Alexander defines design patterns as each pattern describes a problem which occurs over and over again in our environment and then describes the core of the solution to that problem in such a way that you can use this solution in a million times over without ever doing it in the same way twice. So what are design patterns? Design patterns are solution to the problems which happens in our domain again, again, again. So this gang of four, these authors realized object-oriented programming is very difficult for new programmers. So what if we come up with some solutions, some patterns which help new people to learn good design practices? After this book was published, design patterns became very popular. Every author worth his salt started writing a book about design pattern. As it happens in our industry, people are going to overuse, misuse the good concepts, and they're gonna come time when people gonna get repulsed by the great idea. So this happened to design patterns. There was a very nice design patterns. Hello example. People started overcomplicating the code. They started using design pattern whether required or not required. So still I think why three reasons design patterns are still relevant. The first reason is they still teaches you object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming learning is hard. You can learn the concepts of polymorphism, interface-based programming, inheritance, encapsulation, but it's very difficult to use these concepts in the real world. So design pattern gives you some scenarios, some problems, and shows you how you can use polymorphism, interface-based pattern to solve real problems. Most of design patterns are based on interface or inheritance and use polymorphism. Second reason design patterns are still popular, they still solve the problem. We're still using factory pattern. We are just still using command pattern. We are still using strategy pattern in some scenarios. These design patterns are still solving business problems. The third reason is design patterns became popular. They gave a vocabulary. Instead of you telling some other developer, okay, I want a class which will create another classes, you have to create interfaces for those classes. I want to remove those classes. I want this component to be interchangeable. You could simply say factory pattern, and that is still relevant. There are a lot of design patterns which are new, which was not these authors did not came up like CQRS, MVC pattern, but MVC pattern. Still we use factory pattern. So still they help us to communicate with each other. Instead of explaining all the details, you can ask other developer to implement factory pattern, and chances are he'll look up and either he will know or he will look up. So I still think design patterns are important. I still think design patterns help us to understand object-oriented programming better. I still think design patterns help us to design better software. They give us good exposure to architecture and design practices. So thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel for your regular updates. Connect with me on LinkedIn and Twitter, especially LinkedIn. If you like small summaries of the videos, I will be posting a lot of small summaries of the video on LinkedIn. Thanks again.